Okay, well, here's for hoping that this is working this time. All right, I think we're live. All right, great. Hello, everybody. It's Georgiana. Today, I'm talking about the five pillars of emotional agility for the second time. The first time the live didn't work. Um, why emotional agility? So, if you're a woman in the world today, there are challenges, sometimes big challenges. And emotional agility is important for handling these challenges with power and grace. So, emotional agility, it reduces stress. It also increases clarity. And it really, this is where it gets really important, is it enhances communication and decision making. So you don't have to go far, right? You can just stay right here in Facebook and bump up against things that you're for or against that can be triggering emotionally, and then you go out into the world, right? And then you watch TV, right? There's a lot of different things, and that's not even getting into your business, right? Working with clients, or if you don't have a business, just friends and family. So we are bumping up against triggering things that trigger our emotions in a way that has us not handling them maybe gracefully. I don't know about you, but emotional agility is really important to have these tools to be able to come up against these challenges and handle them with power and grace. So, first off, what is emotional agility? Emotional agility is really the ability to experience, understand, and manage your emotions in ways that are aligned with your values and your goals, and gives you power when bumping up against the day to day life and challenges. And, you know, it's really difficult, or I'm going to say it this way, it can be difficult when we're going through our day to day life and we're bumping up against things that trigger us or just aren't easy, literally bumping up against something, right? So being able to have the power to have to change, I'm going to say, to change your experience, to bring a different level of understanding that allows you to communicate in a new way. So let's get in. There's five pillars of emotional agility. There is awareness, acceptance, intention, personal responsibility, and action. So let's get into these, right? So there's first is awareness, and this is recognizing and acknowledging your emotions. So if you say you're on Facebook and you bump up against something that's triggering, if you're beginning to feel like your blood pressure is rising, you feel anxious, then this is becoming aware of that feeling allows you to manage it. Same thing, like if you're going into a big presentation and you're anxious, if you just walk on stage, you bring the anxiousness with you. But if you recognize it, some people say name it, then this is bringing awareness to the emotion that you're feeling. So, step one. The second pillar is acceptance. So, you know the saying, right? Whatever you resist persists. So, acceptance, allowing yourself to feel the emotions without judgment. It's okay if you're walking up on stage to do a big presentation to feel a little fear, but it doesn't have to define you. It doesn't have to define your abilities or your success. And I always used to say when I trained people for speaking, right, getting up on stage, the big difference between being nervous, anxious, and excitement is a deep breath. But you have to be able to accept and acknowledge what's happening. The third pillar is intention. So choosing how to respond instead of reacting impulsively. So I just listened to a great podcast, and I wish I could remember. I've got to go back and uh, get this guy's name. So he wrote a book. He's an attorney, and the best takeaway from this, and it's perfect right here, is he said every time before you respond, take a breath and wait 7 seconds. Now, this is really good here because you can choose how to respond inside of that breath, inside of that pause, instead of reacting to frustration with anger, choosing a response that aligns with your goals, who you are, your values, and who you want to be in the world. So I'm just going to take a little tangent here because this from this guy that I just told you about, and I'll get his name and put it. He's written a book, and I'll put it in the comments. Um, but one thing that he said that I thought was really powerful is that when you take a breath, when somebody asks you a question, you take a breath, you wait 7 seconds before you respond. Now, that's not just in kind of an anxiety ridden communication, but even when somebody asks you, how are you doing today? We automatically say, fine. He said, slow down, take a breath, and then respond. And what it allows is for the person that you're talking to feels heard, like you actually are interested in communicating with them. It made so much sense, right? Because especially in a world today where we are just respond, 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 and sometimes we respond to a different question than what actually got answered to us. Okay. But anyway, so I digress. I'll put the name of that guy in the comments. It was really, actually, I'll put a link to the podcast. So, all right. So intention, choosing how to respond instead of reacting impulsively, taking that breath, slowing down so that what's coming out next is something that you're choosing. All right, so the fourth pillar. So we've got awareness, acceptance, intention. Now, the fourth pillar is personal responsibility. Taking ownership, like complete ownership of your emotional responses and actions. So this is one of my pet peeves because so many people today, you see them blaming outside circumstances for why they're feeling this way. Like you did this and so I'm pissed off, or, you know, you did that, or you said that, or this happened, etc. So now I'm this. Nobody can make you feel any particular way. Excuse me. Taking full ownership of every way that you are and every way that you aren't. Like you have complete control over how you respond to anything, to anything. And it takes know how, it takes awareness, it takes intention to be able to, and it takes responsibility, like personal responsibility, to how you're going to respond to anything, taking full ownership of your emotional responses and your actions. So when things don't go as planned, for example, emotional agility means taking responsibility for your reaction instead of blaming the external circumstances. All right. And we've all done that, right? Especially in relationships, where we can like, wah, 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 everybody's fighting for their experience, but their experience is because you did this. And I'm feeling this way because you did that, right? And it just doesn't have any resolution piece because there's no personal responsibility. All right. the fifth pillar. So we got awareness, acceptance, intention, personal responsibility, and the last pillar is action. So taking intentional steps that align with your values even when your emotions are high. So if you think of a time when, even when, let's say, here's a great example, right? Think of a time, I don't know about you, but when I am on a diet, or there's something that I don't like, I don't want to eat sugar anymore, or I don't want to do this. When I get anxious, when life is challenging, I bump up and I want to throw away all the promises that I've made to myself and do whatever, right? That's the lack of emotional agility. But being able to become aware of your emotion, accepting it, creating an intention how you're going to respond, taking personal responsibility for it, and then taking an action that is aligned with your goal, with your values, with your commitment, even when emotions are high. Now, not eating sugar might be a very simple thing, but you can see that there's things when we get triggered, or things that happen, or even our physical responses to things that really begin to give us reasons to not be in the world the way that we are committed to being. And there is a lot of power and grace when you have emotional agility and you can respond to things in ways that serve you. So, emotional agility really helps you to thrive, and it's going to enhance your resilience. It reduces burnout and really supports your performance and your goal achievement. So, some of the things that you can practice, right, is mindfulness, tuning into your emotions, journaling, of course, reframing those negative emotions, um, and setting intentions in your day for emotional check-ins, right? And the one last thing that I love to do, and this is the heart math, and I know some of you know that I just recently got certified with heart math. It's really going into your heart space, and it brings everything down. Like, there's an immediate experience of calm. This is that acceptance, it's the pause, it's the slowing down, it's the place where you can create intention. So practice pausing before responding. Practice pausing in life and becoming aware of what is actually happening that can impact your performance and your grace and ease in all the challenging times that we have coming up. So I'm hoping that this recorded this time. I think it did. So I'm really excited to bring this to you. And, I'd love to hear from you in the comments, you know, anything that what's one thing, right, that you practice to increase your emotional agility. So I'm going to put the link to the podcast for that gentleman, which I'll get his name, um, because it was really, really powerful the way that he talked and responding. So, all right, that's it for now. Thanks so much for being here. Till next time.